Oh, Mikhailo Mudryk's magic. He wears a magic hat. He could have signed for Arsenal. He said, no, fuck that. He dribbles with his left foot. He dribbles with his right. And when we finish 10th again, we'll sing this song all night. Oh, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another live stream. Mikhailo Mudryk is on his way to London, about to sign a 7-year contract with Chelsea until 2030, undergoing his medical tomorrow, ahead of a big move to Stamford Bridge, which could eventually cost Chelsea €100 million if all add-ons are met. Never a dull day in the life of Chelsea, eh? Wasn't really expecting this to happen on kind of a random Saturday afternoon. Real feel-good factor about this one for me. An exciting player. I'm not going to pretend I know loads about him because I don't, but the fact that we've hijacked Arsenal, we've mudded them. They were going mad for him, comps of him, Photoshop of stuff of him in an Arsenal shirt. They might be top of the league, but they can hold that because there is only one team in London, and it's Todd Bowley's Blues. Huge amount of money spent. We've obviously been out in Poland this afternoon getting the deal done, negotiating that fee. Egg Barley's been out there. And whatever people think of Todd Bowley, the circus continues at Chelsea. And, it's a deal that, Arsenal were interested in first. Then Chelsea were kind of interested, but then there was reports saying we're not really going to put a bid in it. We were just kind of sounding things out. And then obviously the Shakhtar executives came to the match against Manchester City at Stamford Bridge a couple of weeks ago. And nothing really materialized from that. And then bang, today, Chelsea out in Poland negotiating the deal. It's moved very, very quickly. By the way, guys, big up everyone in the chat. Make sure you smash the likes on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and get your thoughts in there as well. And I'll get through as many of them as I can. So we had obviously the news. Fabrizio broke the exclusive earlier this afternoon about Chelsea being in Poland. Slightly odd, I felt, that Chelsea kind of put a statement out saying that the club are discussing terms with Shakhtar for Mudryk. Should a deal be agreed between the two clubs, and the Ukrainian international will discuss personal terms with the Blues ahead of a permanent transfer. I thought it was a little bit strange that they put a statement out saying they're in talks with the club. I'm not sure if it's something they've done before, but then actually it subsequently transpired that we did a similar thing when signing Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech. So maybe that was normal. But yeah, it's a mad deal. I wasn't expecting this at all today. And then obviously David Ornstein kind of confirming the news that Chelsea have reached an agreement with Mikhailo Mudryk. With Shakhtar Donetsk for Mikhailo Mudryk, €70 million plus 30 million in add-ons, 7-year contract agreed, leaving Turkey for London to undergo a medical. Not signed yet, but all done. There's obviously been subsequent updates since then. Mudryk will undergo his medical tomorrow before signing for Chelsea. It is a here we go for Mikhailo Mudryk. Let me get to a few things in the chat before I go any further, guys. DJ South, big up, bro. Another hijack on Arsenal. Mate, Arsenal might be top of the league. They might be having a great season, but London will always be blue and Chelsea will always be the big dogs. They thought they were getting Felix. They thought they were getting Mudryk. They both ended up at Stamford Bridge. So they can hold that and we can enjoy this. We haven't had much to cheer about. We're doing really shit at the moment, but at least we've still got pulling power. And the fact we've muddied Arsenal makes this deal all the sweeter. Yep. Jumper, big up. The circus does continue. Yeah, mate, I will get into this a little bit later on. The João Felix loan deal, Chelsea are confident that they can actually end up making that permanent. I'd like to think that we'd be in a position to do that, but we'll have to wait till the summer to see how that one goes. Yes, Arsenal in the mud, things we love to see. Mudryk deal confirmed. CFC wants to do deal, payment terms right. Yeah, no, it's nothing to do with Benfica not being serious. I think we kind of fucked them about a little bit in terms of we lowballed them. We went in with an €85 million offer. They always supposedly we were happy to pay more than the release clause to structure the deal more favorably. I'm not really sure what went on there, but Enzo Fernandez is very much, you pay the release clause, €120 million up front, or he's not going anywhere. So that's kind of the situation we're in with that one. Here we go. Yes, mate, it's coming. It's happening. What number do you think? Oh, Jesus. Absolutely no idea, Dan. Who knows? I can't even think off the top of my head what numbers are available. But yeah, I don't know what we'll get. We'll find out next week. Deals, big up, bro. All good, mate. Oh yes, yes, mate. I remember you've come on after me a few times on the lives. Yeah, I think Mudryk's a good sign about that price tag. Yeah, look, it's a lot of money, but I think one thing I do want to clarify. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, if Chelsea are prepared to spend this much money on Mykhailo Mudryk, why couldn't we have just paid an extra 20 million euros for Enzo Fernandez?" It doesn't quite work like that. It's very different paying 120 million euros up front all in one go than there is spreading 100 million euros out over the cost of the contract. So spending 100 million euros but spreading it over 7 years, I think Chelsea are going to be paying about 40 or 50 million pounds up front. And then the rest is obviously going to be paid in installments. And at 30 million euros in add-ons, some of those add-ons will be quite easily attainable. Others won't be so easily attainable. But ultimately, we probably we probably want to end up spending the 100 million euros because it means that if those add-ons are hit, it means he's done well and the team have been successful. But the reason why we're able to do this is because we can spread it over a number of years paying it, and it's not like it's basically for cash flow purposes. So that money's not going out of the club all in one go. It's going out over a number of years. Tobogo, big up to you, bro. Hope you're good. Benfica Lobe. I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm not really don't really get that. I'm actually excited for next season. Lots of creativity and speed added. Yeah, I mean, it could be a madness next season. There could be a front three. Well, there's definitely two of them are going to be here. Front three of Mudryk, Christopher Nkunku, and João Felix. We would be balling with that. That would be sourcing. Potter's Blues could be something magical next season if we can get João Felix on a permanent deal. Yes, bro, I will be at the bridge tomorrow. Guys, match day vlog coming from Stamford Bridge tomorrow as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that one after the game. Mudryk be there? Yeah, quite possibly, actually. Is every chance that he could be. I don't know for certain, but yeah, I say quite possibly. Yeah, I'll see if I can find him. Yeah, no, yeah. There's. I mean, I don't claim to be an expert on FFP by any means, but I do know that spreading the cost of a transfer out over multiple years is totally different to spending 120 million up front. No, mate, we're still feasting. We are still feasting. Moise Caicedo next. We're not done yet. And I see a lot of people saying that. Oh, well, why are we doing this when the priorities the midfield? Yeah, we know the priorities the midfield. We know the priorities are right back, but you don't always get to do your priority deals in the order you want to do them in. Mudryk, this was the opportunity to get this deal done now. It's not exactly going to be like, no, actually, we want to hold fire on this until we bring a midfielder and until we bring a right back in or whatever it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. Caicedo would be good. Apparently, he had a really good game today against Liverpool. Low key though, him and McAllister in the midfield too is pretty saucy. I can't lie. Wouldn't mind both of those, but it would be. It would lead to more fans, being like, "Oh, Chelsea turning into Brighton." These players are good players at the end of the day. Yeah, but Caicedo next would be very, very tasty. Yeah, we are debt free as well. That's another thing that people don't realise. That obviously Roman wipes the deck. I'm sure people obviously do realize it, but I think a lot of people forget, particularly rival fans, that Roman completely wiped the deck. This club's debt free now, and any money that's being spent now is out of the new ownership's pocket. It's nothing to do with the old regime. It's all kind of new money, as it were. There's no debt to worry about. So we're kind of just working on a spend what we like sort of thing, as long as we're within FFP. And whatever goes out, we can recuperate as well. So it's a good position to be in. Yeah, Dan, I know the feeling, mate. Going week in, week out, up and down the country. It's tough watching us lose and watching us be so shit. So hopefully, João Felix provided us with a bit of a boost with his 60-minute cameo on Thursday night. Maybe the news of Mudryk can kind of spur the guys into life, and we can perhaps get a result tomorrow. Yeah, Edu mudded, Arsenal mudded, things we love to see. Yeah, mate, these are mad options. Mudryk, Madueke, and Nkunku, Thuram, Pulisic. Yeah, I mean, look, for sure, I'd love that. I think it's clear that Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, Aubameyang out, dead food. Time to move those guys on. None of them are good enough. Mudryk and Nkunku already confirmed. Thuram. What would be interesting is that whether we go with, whether we're still interested in Madueke, whether we're still looking to bring Thuram in, or whether we were just like, we had our fingers in loads of pies, as it were, just in case the Mudryk deal didn't work out, and we were just kind of sounding out in case we couldn't get the Mudryk deal done. I'm not really sure. Obviously, look, we were working on multiple targets at the same time. Are we still going to be interested in Madueke and Thuram now? Now that Mudryk's done, I'm not really sure, but certainly, if Madueke and Thuram came in alongside Mudryk and Nkunku, those lot replacing Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, and Aubameyang is like going from a bungalow to a fucking mansion. It would be utter madness. Let's get through these. I want to see Potter pick the right players for lineups depending who the opposition is. I know we've got injuries that makes it hard for his selection, but he's still. Yeah, this is. Look, I defend Graham Potter to the hill. Those of you that tune into the channel regularly, those of you that watch me on Chelsea Fan TV as well, I fully Potter in, back in the process. Understand the situation he's in, but one thing I'll always maintain, he's not immune from criticism. And one big thing is that Potter's got to now kind of show that he's got a big set of bollocks here, and he has to pick players that deserve to play. And I don't care how old they are or how young or whatever it is. These senior players don't deserve to play. Chukwuemeka needs to be starting tomorrow. Fofana needs to be starting tomorrow. Lewis Hall needs to be starting. Badia Shield should be playing potentially instead of Koulibaly, who's been really poor. Potter's got to make big decisions. I know we've not got an abundance of players available, but senior players shouldn't be being picked if they're not delivering, and too many of them aren't delivering week in, week out. So he now has to show that he can deliver. He can make those bold decisions and pick players that deserve to play. Yeah, Slonina clean sheet. He made his debut Friday night at Kingsmeadow against Wolves in a 2-0 win. The real clear out and real signs will be done in the summer. Yeah, this is big change coming for Chelsea, and this has been well overdue for a long, long time now. We need a big clear out of the deadwood, the guys that don't want to be here, the bad attitudes, the bad characters. We need a dressing room full of hungry players that want to be at this club, want to play for Chelsea, and then we can try and move forward. Yeah, Sterling will be at Chelsea next season for sure, no doubt. Colwell passing from the back is lit. Boston against Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, an interesting thing was, I'll stick on this Mudryk stuff for a bit, and I will get to this Koulibaly thing, but it was interesting in that Matt Law article yesterday talking about the squad clear out that Chelsea would be prepared to cut ties with Koulibaly if a suitable offer came in, which I think is kind of mad. I think Koulibaly is a great player. He's been a great defender throughout his career. It's not quite happened for him since he's come to Chelsea. It's a new league. It will take time for him to adapt. But then at the same time, if that's true that, they're interested in listening to offers for him, then maybe that's an acceptance and an admittance that some of the business they did in the summer, they got it wrong. And, it is tough because, it's new owners, it's a new manager at this level. Everyone in senior positions at the club right now, they're all learning on the job, which is never an ideal situation to be in. So mistakes are going to be made, but time is of the essence. We can't just kind of give them a free pass, because they're new. That has to be taken into consideration. But we are going to make mistakes along the way, but we just got to accept that, these guys are learning on the job. That's the thing. Co-owner Egbali and director of global transfers Win Stanley. Yeah, mate. No messing about. That's one thing. And one thing, like whether people think there's a clear plan in the transfer window or not, that's kind of debatable. Like, what is the plan? We were in for Mudryk, we weren't in for Mudryk. Now we are. Like, it does seem a little bit kind of we're just putting our fingers in all the pies and seeing what can come off. One thing we do under this new regime is we are ruthless in the transfer market. If we want someone, I think they've learned from the summer with Rafinha, with Koundé, etc. If we want a player, we go in, we put the money on the table, and we get it done. I mean, obviously the Enzo Fernandez one's slightly different, but generally speaking, we don't mess about in the market, and it's so refreshing to see that we actually can sign players now. We're proactive in the transfer market rather than reactive. We're signing players up for the future. We're preempting, as I was commenting earlier. We've now bought players in Nkunku coming next summer, in Mudryk coming now, in hopefully João Felix being a permanent. We've already planned for the departures of Havertz, of Pulisic, of Ziyech, of Aubameyang. These have already been taken care of, their replacements. So this is really refreshing stuff to see. Potter has given chance to Hall, Hutchinson and Fofana. Hutchinson and Fofana not ready to start yet. Mate, Hutchinson won't start tomorrow because he played for the 21s on Friday night. So I'd be surprised if he started at all. Maybe he'll be on the bench. Maybe he won't. I don't really know. Maybe Fofana's not ready, but I tell you what, he's not going to be any worse than Kai Havertz or Aubameyang. So for me, it makes sense to chuck in a young and hungry player, eager to prove himself. Will put a shift in, will give his all, which is more than can be said for Havertz or Aubameyang in that situation. Dead in the water, big up, bro, big up. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on the Mudryk situation. TT was a great manager, but poor in signing. Sterling, Fofana, Cucurella, Koulibaly. And wait, I don't know whether the Gordon one was a Tuchel thing or whether that was a board thing. It's hard to tell. What I would say for Fofana, I think is going to be a very good signing. One of the best young centre backs in world football. He's just had some fitness issues, so we haven't seen the best of him yet. Cucurella, I think Cucurella's made a bit of a scapegoat if we're being honest. You know, look, he's not been great, but he's by far not been the worst at all. For sure. Koulibaly, I think we were all excited. We'd be lying if we weren't. But again, these signings that have come in, I mean, Fofana, I think any manager wouldn't mind working with. Look, Cucurella, Potter's going to be happy to work with him. But in terms of Sterling, Koulibaly and Aubameyang for sure. Graham Potter would never have signed him. Chelsea would never have gone near Aubameyang unless it wasn't for Tuchel. Koulibaly, maybe that is a Tuchel signing. I don't really know. And Sterling, I think Graham Potter wouldn't have been disappointed with Sterling. Would he have targeted him? I'm not really sure. What else we got here? Went to the Leicester, Spurs, and Arsenal games this season. In two of them games, Reece was there. You can see, yeah, of course you can. Like, we've won one game in the league since Reece James was injured. Obviously, I know we won the Bournemouth game when he was back, but you know, obviously, we beat Aston Villa without him. Then we didn't win any games from Villa away in October with Reece James until Bournemouth in December. He's so important to this side. We've got to try and move away from being so reliant on one player. It's almost similar to Hazard to the Sarri season with Eden Hazard. You know, if Hazard didn't play in that team, we were shit. It's the same with Reece James. If he doesn't play, we're shit. Darth, big up, 100% play the young players. Tired of these mercenaries up top who get picked every week, no matter how shit they play. Yeah, and that's another thing as well, is that there's no, because we've got so many injuries right now, and because there's not that many alternatives, players just feel the likes of Havertz, the likes of Mount at the moment, who's been shit, the likes of your Sterlings or your Pulisics or your ZX, you know, the list goes on and on. These guys know that they can play shit and they'll still be picked because there's no pressure on their positions right now. This is why we've got to add quality and depth so that people are kept on their toes. If you play shit, you know the next guy's coming in. And that's the way it's got to be. It has to be like that. You know, when we were successful under Mourinho, particularly like in his first spell in charge, there was two quality players in every position. You know, our wide players were Robin, Duff, Joe Cole, and I've actually forgotten the other one now. But anyway, we had two great players in each position. So if a player didn't play well, they were out the team, and someone else was in their place. And that's what we've got to get back to. We have to get back to that. I'm just waiting for Mudryk's answer when he will be asked interview about Arsenal. Yeah, do you know what? I don't know if it was like a whole trolling sort of thing because, you know, you got Chelsea on their social bio, got Mudryk's at in their bio, Shakhtar doing eyes emojis on their Twitter account, the English one. I don't really know what's going on here, but ultimately, like, Mudryk wouldn't have signed for Chelsea if he didn't want to come here. It wasn't like if he was desperate for Arsenal, he would have waited to see if they would have offered a bit more money or offered the deal that Shakhtar wanted. I do think that he's more than happy to come here. And ultimately, this Arsenal stuff, once he puts a Chelsea shirt on, that's all behind me. That's all water under the bridge, as it were. And it's kind of as simple as that, really, for me on that one. But he obviously will get asked about, and it will be interesting to see kind of what he says. Lamech, big up, bro. I have a guy in my WhatsApp contact still refusing that we have hijacked the deal. Keep saying Fabrizio's deleted his here we go on Facebook. Oh yeah, mate, these guys are in denial. There was some Arsenal fan with some @ with Ozil in his name, and he was trying to say that Fabrizio was leaking false information to try and drive the price up, to try and do something to make Arsenal not interested in the deal. It was something ridiculous. Like, some of these Arsenal fans are shameless when it comes to this sort of thing. I'm not going to blame. No, look, Tuchel's 100% to blame for the Aubameyang signing. He's also 100% to blame for the fact that we didn't sign a midfielder in the summer because he said that we didn't need one, which was just utter nonsense. If this means we don't now get a top midfielder or right back, look, I don't know what's going to happen in the window. We're obviously working very hard behind the scenes. We're in talks with a lot of players. Caicedo is one to watch. Chelsea very interested in him. We'll have to wait and see what's happened on that. Nothing concrete as of yet. In terms of right backs, there hasn't really been anything, to be honest. Nothing publicly anyway. I'm sure behind the scenes they're looking at options and seeing what's possible. But yeah, there's not been any news on a right back yet. But I mean, yeah, look, this is a big plus. Well, to be honest, we've already rebuilt half our attack. We've got Nkunku coming, Mudryk's in, and if we can get João Felix on a permanent, that's our new first choice front line next season. Done already, pretty much. What's your thoughts on Cover this season? Not great, to be honest. Had some good games. Had some as Gattuso said, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. And that's what we've got with Cover this season. Undoubtedly a very good player, but again, he was shit against Fulham on Thursday. He wasn't the only one. A lot of them were. But I think it's been a mixed bag for Cover this season. His contract's up at the end of next season. And it will be interesting to see what he does in terms of, does he want to sign a new deal? Will Chelsea offer him a new deal? I'm sure they'll be interested to try and tie him down on fresh terms and extend his stay at the club. But I read things a while back that Kovacic might be looking at maybe wanting a new challenge or something. So maybe it could be time to move him on. Minimum requirement now is get a DM and a backup for Reece. Agreed on that one. Yep, squad depth is a big plus for next season. Although having said that, we do have squad depth. We've got 10 first-team players out, but there's not really quality in depth. I think the key is quality in depth, not just squad depth, but the quality of that depth that we've got. Yes, Deals, big up, bro. Guys, run up the likes on the stream. Subscribe to the channel as well. Please do that. Would really appreciate all of your support on this one. Trying to get to 3K subscribers as quickly as possible. Every new subscriber helps. So, guys, please do smash the likes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Would be greatly appreciated. Mate, it would be nice, but it's going to be impossible, unfortunately, for that one. Just happy to have Mudryk. Definitely an improvement. Our midfield and right back have to be addressed next, for sure. Casadei is doing really good for the youth team. Serious. Do you know what I find really strange about the Casadei one is why he's not gone on loan? We've got a guy we paid 20 million quid for, pretty much, playing under 21s football, like in the PL2. It seems mad that you've got a player that we paid 20 million pounds for, roughly, and he's playing PL2 football. Surely it would have made more sense for him to go on loan somewhere. I don't really know. Yeah, for sure, and that's it's going to take time to see that, but let's see what happens with that. But the plan's certainly there. The wheels are certainly in motion. Now is the hard part. We've got to get these guys gelling and doing it on the pitch. Atharv, big up, bro. I was sleeping when the news broke. So happy that Arsenal mudded twice in the span of 1 week. Yeah, Arsenal fully mudded twice in 1 week is great news. We've got to enjoy this as much as we can because we haven't had much to shout about on the pitch. So we'll enjoy this one. Again, the Marcus Thuram one's interesting. Chelsea have obviously sounded him out. They're obviously interested in a player of his profile. His contract expires in June, end of this season. He would be available for free in the summer, but he could get him for his, I think, 10 million euros, which is about 8.5 million quid. So it'd be interesting to see what we do. I'd say no, because it's not a priority and a lot of other areas need addressing. But if a world-class goalkeeper can be found, then for sure, I think it's a situation that Chelsea will look into. Guna's only target Mudryk backup was Felix. Yeah, I know it's sad times, but yeah, Mykhailo Mudryk is on his way to Stamford Bridge. There will be a medical taking place tomorrow, which is exciting times. Maybe he'll be at the ground tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Mudryk arriving in London tonight. Medical tests are booked for Sunday, and then he'll sign his contract until 2030, which is mad, really, when you think about it. A 7-year contract that will take him up to the age of 29. Things are suddenly happening this window, and it's a big boost. I think in terms of Mudryk, he should make his debut in next weekend's game against Liverpool. I mean, that one's been dubbed El Shitico because for obvious reasons. But yeah, Mudryk's debut should be next weekend at Anfield. I think he's expected at training at Cobham on Tuesday because the guys will have a day off after the Palace game on Monday. So, yeah, Mudryk expected on Tuesday. But this is a mad deal. I don't know what you guys in the chat think, but I look at the recruitment for the first team, and I think it's clear that, there's a plan for the youth side of the recruitment, bringing in some of the best talents from around the world, or very good talents, and, building a side for the future, predominantly players under the age of 25. We're trying to cut out the middleman in terms of that. We want to find these players before they become 50, 60, 70 million pound players. So that side of things is very clear. Whether they'll work out or not is another question. But one thing's for certain, it's win-win, because if it works out, we get good players for the club on the cheap. If it doesn't work out, we can probably sell them on and make a profit for what we bought them from. So I think that side of recruitment is working well. Side of the recruitment that I'm not so sure about is the first team recruitment. I don't really know what the plan is. I don't really know what we're doing. We just seem to be throwing money here, there, and everywhere. Look, I'm delighted we're signing Mykhailo Mudryk. I think, he's a player that we need. He's a profile that we need. But, was this the priority of this window? I don't really know. Like, what are we trying to do with the first team? Are we trying to make instant improvements? I'm not sure what the recruitment strategy appears to be for the first team in terms of, like, we seem to be all over the place, like 1 minute we're interested in Madueke, 1 minute it's Thuram, then it's Mudryk, then suddenly we've got a deal for Mudryk done. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen from one day to another. Look, I'm happy with the deal for sure. I wouldn't say it's a priority, but, obviously, supposedly Graham Potter as well was keen to get Mudryk. He was one that was pushing for Chelsea to sign Mudryk, so I can't wait to see how he does. But yeah, that is the big news from today, is that Mykhailo Mudryk will become a Chelsea player, and he will be having his medical tomorrow, which is exciting times. A big boost ahead of the Crystal Palace game for the Blues. Let me just get to a few things in the chat before I move on to the next thing. I've got a feeling we'll get Caicedo and it'll just suddenly happen like the Mudryk deal. Yeah, one thing that I think is clear is there seem to be a lot less leaks around the club at the moment compared to kind of what it was like under Roman with Marina and stuff. Something like this would get out before. You'd have inklings of it before being kind of drip fed in. The Mudryk thing just kind of appeared from nowhere. It was just like, bang, Chelsea are in Poland. Like, it kind of, no one knew that was really going to be happening. I mean, I'd like us to get Caicedo. If we can do that, I think it'd be a fantastic window. Let's not forget Zakarian. Yeah, that's that. Chelsea have agreed a fee. Personal terms, agree with the player. The only issue with the Zakarian deal is the issue with the UK's government sanctions on Russia and where to deposit the funds. Like, there's nowhere really to put the money. So that's the issue with that one. So that's the reason why that's not happened yet. What do you guys think of Henderson as number one keeper? What, Henderson of that's Nottingham Forest? No, not good enough for what we're trying to do. Definitely not good enough. Chelsea can offer players in exchange for Felix next summer: Lukaku, Ziyech, Pulisic, even Koulibaly. Yeah, there's also that as well. We could be in a position to offer players, slightly maybe lower the fee, see if Atletico Madrid fancy any of our players. That's also a good point as well. And I think whilst some people were disappointed that there was no option or obligation to buy in the Felix deal, I think it's smart and it makes sense, because if he didn't work out well, at least we're not tied into spending £88 million on him, which is the obligation that Atletico Madrid wanted. If he does well, then we can try and negotiate something down. Or if he doesn't do well, then the price will drop anyway. So I think it's a smart way of doing things by not having that in there. Happy with the deal, yes. Crystal Palace to launch transfer bid for Conor Gallagher. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. Nobody was talking about the money when he was going to Arsenal. No, they weren't. And this is the thing, like Chelsea will always get bad rep and stuff for spending money and we're ruining football, ruining the transfer market. The offer that Arsenal put in was 95 million euros all in. So we're only paying 5 million euros more than Arsenal. Arsenal had their price that they felt the player was worth, and they weren't prepared to budge on it. Chelsea were prepared to go to what Shakhtar wanted. We got the deal done. Arsenal didn't. But to suggest that, Arsenal weren't about to spend 95 million euros on Mudryk, like, that is a lot of money as well. So, yeah, nobody was talking about the money then, but suddenly it's Chelsea and everyone talking about the money. the reason we're all over the place is because we need to upgrade all positions. They're just grabbing everything they can get a hand on. Yeah, it's very much got that sort of kid in the sweet shop sort of vibe. Just like go into all the shelves, just grabbing whatever you can off it. I think it will kind of calm down once there's been a few windows, but because there's so much to address, because there's so few players available of the required quality that we need, you've got to move fast. And it might appear scattergun. It might seem like we're playing kind of FIFA career mode, as it were, but maybe there is a slight method to the madness, but it just seems like we're just on an absolute rampage in the transfer market right now. And I'm fully here for it. I'm fully here for it. Next stop after Poland, Portugal for Enzo. I think the Enzo thing's done. I mean, Matt Law article in the Telegraph, I think yesterday, saying that, Chelsea haven't fully ruled out going back for Enzo Fernandez, but I think a deal now, as far as I'm concerned right now, I can't see how Chelsea end up with Enzo Fernandez in this window. Benfica fully on their stance that is 120 million euros up front, full release clause, or it's nothing at all. So I'd say unlikely, but with Bowley and Co in charge, never say never with Chelsea. But yeah, I cannot see Enzo being a Chelsea player this month for sure. Let's move on to another player that we were linked with yesterday. That kind of seemingly came out of nowhere as well. Noni Madueke, the PSV Eindhoven winger. As first reported by Dutch media, Chelsea offered around £25 million for the England under-21 winger, but clubs remain apart in valuation. Chelsea still trying to tempt Marcus Thuram as well. Madueke has been quite injury prone, actually. He's missed 81 days so far of this season with an ankle injury. You could say the last thing we need is another injury prone player, given that the current injury problems that we've got at the moment. But, I've got to be honest, I really don't know much about Madueke. Obviously, he's a talented boy. His stats aren't the best this season in the Eredivisie. I did have a look at them earlier. I can't remember them. Clearly a young player. Again, this is what I mean. I don't know what sort of category he falls into. Does he fall into improving the team now category, or does he fall into this is going to be a guy for a couple of years and we're going to send him out on loan? Or I don't really know where he fits in terms of, does he go straight into the first team? Does he not? It's kind of one of those ones on the fence. I mean, guys, if anyone in the chat knows any more about Madueke than I do, then please do put your thoughts in there. But I mean, yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. It's an interesting profile. It's this kind of age that Chelsea are looking at, wanting to go the route they're wanting to go down. I think he's a left-footed, he's a left footer, he's a left winger. That's a profile that we're kind of missing. We don't have. But yeah, I don't know too much about this. Obviously, PSG sold Cody Gakpo to Liverpool in the January window already. I think they're wanting about 40 million euros for him. So I think that's about 36. It's a similar fee to what Gakpo went to Liverpool for. So if Chelsea put that on the table, I think PSV will be more than happy to sell. But again, we haven't got a bottom. Well, maybe we do have a bottomless pit of money. Maybe we do. But yeah, Madueke, I don't know what to think about it. Yeah, an exciting profile, an exciting player, clearly very talented, but I don't really know if he improves the team right now, where he kind of fits in. Would he play off the left-hand side, maybe from the right-hand side? Another good option to have there. And not too expensive, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know loads about him and he's a fantastic player, because I've hardly watched any of him at all. So I'm not really in a position to kind of go any further than that. Any ideas? No ideas at all. I mean, there was kind of murmurings of Pedro Porro at Sporting Lisbon, 45 million euro release clause, but I think Spurs kind of in the front seat with that, although it's gone a little bit quiet recently. So I don't really know what's happening with Porro. There was links with Malo Gusto, the Lyon right back. I think he's 19, 20 years of age, having a very good season over in France. But again, other than that, there hasn't really been anyone. So I don't really know what's going on in that regard. But at the same time, we do desperately need someone. So it's going to be interesting to see what the club ends up doing, because we cannot go with Azpilicueta and Reece James for the rest of the season, because We don't know if Reece James is going to pick up another injury. Aspie could get injured. Aspie's over the hill, unfortunately, now. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that one. We're going to sell many players. So, yeah, Mudryk deal is for the future too. No, I'm not worried about the price tag. Mudryk will play this. Mudryk will play next weekend against Liverpool. So I wouldn't even be surprised if he started because we've got such little options up there, such little quality. I think he goes straight in, or he's certainly making his debut from the bench. But yeah, that's just some more Chelsea news there on Madueke. Again, still trying to tempt Marcus Thuram to a mid-season move. Let's kind of see what happens with all this. I mean, if, at the start of January, I didn't have us down to sign 3 attackers potentially: Mudryk, Madueke, and Thuram. 4 if you include Fofana. I mean, I didn't have that down as happening. I didn't have that down as really a priority position. I kind of had that down as just a bit of a bonus if kind of the right players become available. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about it all. But we'll have to wait and see over the next couple of days on Madueke if any more stuff comes out, and certainly the next couple of days for the Marcus Thuram news as well. We'll just see what happens. We'll just have to see what happens on this one. It's gonna be interesting for sure. But let's move away from the excitement of the Mudryk deal. I think this is a Shakhtar manager actually saying this. I'm pretty sure it's a Shakhtar manager or a former Shakhtar manager, one of the two. I'll just bring these quotes up on Mykhailo Mudryk. Let's have a quick look here. I'm pretty sure it's the Shakhtar manager. It must be. Mudryk is a copy of Mbappe. It will be great to see him play at a higher stage than he is right now. His qualities and perspectives can't be questioned. I think also De Zerbi, the Brighton manager now, and obviously Mudryk's former manager at Shakhtar, thinks that the guy is a future Ballon d'Or winner. He's got that much ability. So he's got high praise and glowing reviews from past and present managers. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this guy can do, but it's really important that we don't heap a load of pressure on the kid. You know, it's going to take him time to adapt. It's going to take him time to bed in. And hopefully he doesn't pick up the anti-football vibes from Chelsea, from the likes of Mount, Havertz, etc. You know, we can't contaminate this guy with the shit that we're serving up right now. But yeah, those are the tweets on Mudryk. Yeah, I mean, Jumper, don't stress me out about this one. Obviously, going up to Anfield next weekend. I was at the cottage on Thursday night for the João Felix red card. I don't want to see another red card on debut. Please, can this just not happen? Please, can it just not happen? Would be forever grateful on that one. But guys, I'm going to get into the Crystal Palace game tomorrow. Obviously, yeah, not the best form for the Blues. We're sitting 10th in the table. 1 win in our last 9 games. Defeat to Fulham on Thursday night was not what we wanted, but not entirely unexpected. Defensive issues, forward issues, midfield issues everywhere. Just one massive issue, Chelsea Football Club at the moment, from top to bottom, really, in terms of what's on the pitch. Is Dennis Zakaria picking up an injury to add to that long list of injuries we've already got? We're kind of down to the bare bones, as it were, of the squad. But the game against Palace are in poor form as well. They have got good players, though, that can cause damage, the likes of Eze, the likes of Elise, Zaha. These players have got, you know, what it takes to cause some damage to the defence. The thought of like Eze, Elise and Zaha tormenting Azpilicueta is enough to give you nightmares. But I don't know, something's got to give. We have to start picking points. I know I've said that I'm fully back Potter and I'm fully behind everything that he's doing and the club's doing, and I've criticised him where it's due. But ultimately, whether you back the manager or not, if you like the manager or not, you know, or if he needs time, he does need time. But you do have to start picking results up. We can't just keep losing every week. You know, we do have to start putting some points on the board, and we need to take the first steps to getting towards that 40-point mark so that we're safe for next season, you know. And it might be slightly tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. You know, we need 15 more points to get to that 40-point mark. I can't even see where 1 point's coming from right now, let alone 15. A lot of things need to change. Potter has got to be brave in his team selection tomorrow. And that kind of segues me nicely into picking my team for tomorrow. Guys, make sure, as I said a couple of times before, keep smashing the likes, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all of your support. It takes seconds to do, one click of a button, and it really helps me out more than you could ever imagine. We'd like to see Emi Martinez as our number one, with Kepa and Mendy leaving. I'm not sure about that. I think he's a good goalkeeper. It is tricky, though. It is tricky. I'm not really sure whether that would be a good move for us or not. Is he? I know he's had a good World Cup and stuff, and he's doing well for Villa, but is Martinez realistically, is he really any better than Kepa or Mendy? I know Mendy's in terrible form right now. Kepa's doing really well. I don't know if Martinez is actually that much better than either of them. I've done that. Aspie is finished. Yeah, he is. I'm not impressed by United's squad at all. Just look how they fought against City. Yeah, United's squad's not that great, if we're being honest. Absolutely need to win against Palace. We're in a dangerous position. I'm actually worried. Yeah, mate, I'm worried as well. I fully support the manager. I support what the club are trying to do, but it is a worrying position to be in. 1 win in 9 games is not acceptable, whatever the circumstances are. You can't be Chelsea Football Club and win one in 9 and be sitting 10th in the table. Something's got to change, and I don't know what it is that it's going to take to get a result. But I think it can start by dropping players that aren't playing well enough and just playing the youngsters that deserve to play. But let's get into the team then, guys. Obviously, in goal, it's very straightforward. I think Mendy's still injured anyway, so it's Kepa, but it would have been Kepa anyway. And it's a big day for Kepa tomorrow. He needs to have a good game. He was at fault for that, for the winner against Fulham. He was indecisive. He kind of came for the cross, and then he tried to retreat, and then by then it was too late. So he needs to have a good game, kind of redeem himself for that error. But in general, he's been very, very good for the club. And his form has been most welcome. It's been most welcome. Right, let's move into the centre-back pairings then. One of those players is definitely going to be Thiago Silva, for sure. And then for me, I think it's Koulibaly, for me, has to be dropped. He has to be. He's not performing to the level required. He's not done well since he's come in. We can't just keep picking him. For me, obviously, the obvious choice is to say put Chalobah in there, but I cannot see Azpilicueta playing starting regularly for Chelsea in 2023. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see him on the pitch. So for me, I think it is time, and this is where Potter's got to make big decisions. It's time for a Badiashile debut. I mean, one thing I would say is no way he is going to be any worse than what Koulibaly's been delivering for us so far. So for me, I think it's time for a Badiashile to make his debut. Silva obviously will play alongside him as far as I'm concerned. And then I know Chalobah he struggled a lot at right back against City in the Cup. And he had a really tough game on Thursday night against Fulham where he was poor. But I know he's not that much better than Azpilicueta right back, and he's not really a right back, and perhaps he won't offer too much getting forward, but neither does Aspie. But at least defensively, he'll be a bit solid, and he'll have a little bit about him. I know it's 2 pretty poor options for right back, but Chalobah is just a slightly less shit option. I just cannot see Aspie playing for Chelsea in 2023. He just isn't up to it anymore. As much of a legend as he is, he's just not up to it at all. Rankin won't play. Rankin played for the 21s on Friday night, so there's no chance that he's involved. Yeah, it is a worry, Joe, but Azpilicueta is more of a worry. The thoughts of Eze Zaha and Elise kind of tormenting him is not good at all. Not good at all. So I would play Chalobah at right back. In terms of left back, obviously we saw Lewis Hall play left wing back on Thursday night against Fulham. I thought he did okay. Had a half decent game. Cucurella didn't start. For me, Lewis Hall's not a left back. His best position is midfield. I would be looking to play Cucurella at left back tomorrow. It'll be slightly fresher. He didn't play that much against Fulham. It's a quick turnaround in games. I'm not saying that Lewis Hall is not capable of doing that, but I think it's clear that Cucurella should start this game for me. And I think he's been unfairly scapegoated. Yes, he's not been the best, but he's by far not been the worst player for us this season. I think he gets unfairly scapegoated, unfairly targeted. One thing I wasn't pleased about, though, was he stormed straight down a tunnel without applauding the supporters on Thursday, which is not great. You don't want to see that. can understand his frustrations, but yeah, you can't do that. So yeah, Cucurella, Badiashile, Silva, and Chalobah as the back line. This is where it gets really shit because playing 4-3-3, whether it's 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, they're going to have to play Jorginho here. There are no other options. No other options there. Jorginho is going to have to play in that position. I suspect he probably will start, unfortunately. And then for me, I mean, look, I know this won't happen, but I would go. I'd want to see Lewis Hall. I'd want to see. This is the problem. I don't want to see this, but because we've got such a lack of options, Mount is going to have to start. He's going to have to. Because who do we play in the front line then? Because I think there's more chance of Chukwuemeka playing on the wing. If I'm being perfectly honest, like we saw when he played against Man City, he came on in a more forward position. I think he's going to have to. I think Chukwuemeka's going to have to play. He's going to have to play in this position here. I want to see Dacho Fofana up front. Or actually, let's just go with this. I know this is a shit team, but I do not want to see Kai Havertz play. And we can play Fofana wide because supposedly Fofana is actually better out on the wide. I've spoken to a couple of people that know a lot more about him than myself. And actually, he can play as a bit of a wide player. So I'd start Fofana there. I'd play Chukwuemeka there. And I know this is awful, really, really bad. But I just do not want to see Kai Havertz on this football pitch. I don't particularly want to see Mason Mount on the football pitch either. But like, what's the alternative, guys? All right, you're saying put Chukwuemeka and then put Hall on that side. I mean, Hall's finishing's not good at all. We've seen on numerous occasions now that Lewis Hall is not the best finisher. I don't know. I don't know what we do. I mean, the only other option here is that we maybe Fofana and Ziyech. I mean, maybe. Or do we take Kovacic, or do we take Mount out and put Kovacic in there? Maybe we do that because Mason Mount doesn't deserve to start. Maybe we go Kovacic in this position here. We go Kova, and then we have Fofana, Chukwuemeka, and Aubameyang. I mean, fuck me, that team is so bad. It's so bad. But this is what we're working with right now, and these are decisions that we have to make. Aspilicueta shouldn't be playing. Mount shouldn't be playing, and Havertz shouldn't be playing. These guys should not be in the team, so they need to be dropped. And this is the only way of basically doing it. Is Fofana ready? No, he's probably not. But we need him, and he just needs to be chucked on, and let's kind of see what happens. One thing's for certain though is that he will not be any worse than Aubameyang. Not Aubameyang, sorry. He won't be any worse than Havertz. There's not really any creativity in that team. We don't create any chances anyway. Yeah, I know Kovacic was shit last game. He was awful. But Mount's been dreadful for a long time now. Mount and Havertz just simply can't keep starting for Chelsea. They have to be dropped. So that's why, out of a matter of principle, I'm not picking either of them. I don't know why they keep starting. I know part of the reason is because of the players we've got available, and then part of the other reason is perhaps Potter doesn't quite fully trust the alternatives. But Potter has to be bold tomorrow. Mount and Havertz cannot keep starting after stinking the gaff up week in, week out. That just simply cannot be allowed to happen. So if I don't pick them, which I'm not, then this is pretty much what we go with. The only other option is maybe Hakim Ziyech comes in. Other than that, we've got nothing. This is it, and that's a bit of a concern in itself. It really is. That really is a little bit of a concern in itself. But I mean, yeah, guys. I mean, that's kind of the the situation that we find ourselves in with this one. I mean, the guys in the chat, let me know if there's any changes that you would make to this team yourselves. I mean, I personally can't see how we do too much differently on this, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the team selection tomorrow. But yeah, it does. Potter has to be bold. He has to be bold. Mount Havertz can't play, and Aspie can't be playing either. The rest is kind of is as you see it. Look, I agree. I've got my doubts over Aubameyang as well, but surely he deserves a chance over the likes of Havertz and Mount, etc. And Aubameyang, I do feel for him a little bit because it's not all his fault that he's shit. We signed him to score goals. We didn't create any chances for him. Then the one problem I do have with Aubameyang is that if we're not creating chances and he's not scoring goals, he offers absolutely nothing. You know, he's not involved in any link-up play. He doesn't drop deep. He doesn't do any defensive work. He doesn't press at all. He offers nothing. So if we're not creating chances, it's basically like playing with 10 men. But Havertz has had a really good, had a solid run in the team. He's done nothing like he always does. So someone else has got to have a chance. And unfortunately, the only other option is Aubameyang. So it's like picking the least shit of the shit. So yeah, it's basically picking which shit stinks less. And right now, Aubameyang stinks a little bit less than Havertz does. So that's kind of why. Havertz do nothing every week. Yeah, he has to be dropped. I can't lie. I'll be pissed if I get to the stadium tomorrow and I see Havertz in that starting line. I will be fuming. I can't lie. I can't pretend that I wouldn't be because I absolutely would be. But yeah, that looks like that's my team for tomorrow. Guys, get your score predictions in the chat, by the way. Let me know what you think the score is going to be. I'm not really sure what to expect. I mean, I've got absolutely zero expectations for this, like I do with most Chelsea games at the moment that we head into. But our luck's got to change at some point. It simply has to. Havertz is just very bad because his main position is central attacking midfield, but he doesn't even know how to pass the ball. I don't even know what Havertz's best position is. The fact that we're 3 seasons in and we're still having this conversation just goes to show this signing just hasn't worked out. It's not going to work out. Havertz isn't just suddenly going to become a good player for us. He's been here. This is his 3rd season now. He's been here 2.5 years. He's not good enough. He just simply isn't doing it. He brings nothing to the team. It's time to cut our losses and move on that one. Now, Havertz is clearly a very talented player, but he's not working in this Chelsea team and he's not working in the Premier League. And he'll probably go and do well somewhere else. But yeah, it's not happening at Chelsea. We've got to be ruthless. It's time to cut our losses and he needs to be moved on in the summer. Havertz cannot be even on the bench. Yeah, I'll be happy if he wasn't in the squad or whatever, but ultimately, the reality of the situation is that he will be in the squad and he will feature tomorrow in some regards, but he cannot start. Nobody knows his best position. It's tragic. I don't understand. Like, I'd love to speak to someone that's like maybe a German football expert. Maybe I'll look at trying to get someone on the channel to discuss this. I don't understand how no one knows what Kai Havertz's best position is. Like, what is he? And it's a ridiculous conversation to be having. Surely Chelsea, when we signed him in mind with a position in mind where he was going to play. And we don't really know, but just kind of shoehorning him into the team. Really don't know. Surely Potter can speak to him and he can ask him. Yeah, well, I'm right. Yeah, I'm sure he does. But I mean, I'd love to. I mean, Havertz did say in an interview a while back that he's happy to play anywhere. He can play anywhere, but he's not doing a business. So I don't really know what the situation is with him. But yeah, it's shit. It's really shit at the moment. So yeah, guys, get your score predictions in the chat. I'm going to round this one out now with my predictions. We have Frank wanted to play him as an 8. I mean, Havertz is not an 8. He's not got the physicality to play as a number 8 in midfield. I just don't think I don't look at him and see him as like a creative midfield player. I just don't. Havertz is that so-called. Hold on. Havertz is that so-called can play anywhere across the front 3 merchant, but whenever he plays, he's shite. Yeah, that sums it up perfectly. That is the description. Havertz is supposedly versatile, but the only thing he's versatile at is being shit. I've never known a guy that can be shit in so many different positions. It's quite something. Why is it so hard to understand Kaya's flop like he's our Pepe? Yeah, he basically is our Pepe for sure. I agree, mate. Yep, sell Havertz in the summer for sure. Literally have no idea what the score will be. No, I don't even know either. Absolutely no idea. We could go in and lose quite easily, but we could also turn up and suddenly win 3-0. And that equally wouldn't be surprising either. If I'm being honest, I can't see us winning this game. I really can't. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. I just don't see how we suddenly turn our form round and find a way to get a win. But Palace are in equally poor form as well. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but our luck's got to change at some point. We can't keep losing every single match, you know. That will change eventually, and tomorrow will be as good a time as any. The first game at Stamford Bridge since the sad passing of Gianluca Vialli. So what better way would there to be honour his memory by picking up a win at the Bridge tomorrow? But yeah, I'm going to go for 1-1 draw. I can't see how we win with this midfield. No, I agree, mate. You know, I can't see how we win with the attack. Can't see how we win with our midfield. Can't see our defence being able to keep a clean sheet. You know, it's problems all over the pitch. But let's wait and see what happens. Maybe Chelsea will surprise us and we'll actually pick up a win for the first time in a long, long time. Well, actually, no, it's not. We beat Bournemouth on December 27th. But yeah, the first win in what feels like a while. But yeah, I'm going to round this one out, guys. Thanks so much for getting involved in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all of your support as always. Please make sure you smash the likes on the stream on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Would really appreciate that. Trying to get to 3,000 subscribers as quickly as possible by the end of the season would be great. But if we can do it sooner, that would be spot on. So please, on your way out, click that subscribe button. It takes you seconds and it helps me out more than you could ever imagine. I will be back tomorrow, guys, with a match day vlog from the Palace game. So make sure you stay tuned for that one after the match. And I'll also be back tomorrow evening at some point with a more in detail Palace match reaction stream. So stay tuned for both for that content coming tomorrow. But yeah, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Mudryk's going to be a blue, up the Chelsea, and I'll catch you all soon, guys.